Rent or buy? Which option makes more sense in 2022 and why? That's a really good question. Let's talk about it. Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. So with the cost of home ownership at an all-time high and interest rates set to grow again in 2022, families and young professionals are starting to give renting a second look. Let's take a look at why so many people are choosing to rent rather than buy a property in today's market. But is it more cost effective or are you just throwing money away? My name is Andrei with the Medow Group, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Much love and thank you for everyone else tuning in. Again, welcome back. As well, if you'd like to book a buyer consultation or a seller consultation, or simply have a question about the Ottawa real estate market, there's a link in the description below. So once upon a time, buying a home in Canada was a simple and easy process for the average Canadian. Times have changed. Prices have skyrocketed and housing markets have exploded, making home ownership much more difficult. Rising interest rates, shortage of homes to choose from, all these factors now to consider. And what about the shift to work remotely? Now, there are pros and cons to renting, so let's briefly mention them, but your decision should be based on your personal situation and your personal needs first and foremost. Let's start with why you should rent. Home prices are appreciating at record highs and haven't hit their peak yet. You have rising interest rates making the cost of borrowing money even more expensive. And don't forget about the large deposit. It's a lot of money for the average person to save up for. You also don't need to pay property taxes, which can be very high depending on the location and type of home. And lastly, tenant insurance is much cheaper than home insurance. What about the cons of renting? Well, typically utilities are a separate cost and can add up fairly quickly depending on the usage. If you break or damage something, you'll be responsible for the costs. You can't really make any changes to the home unless you have the landlord's permission or approval. A lot of the homes for rent have a no pets policy. You're also bound to the rules and regulations in your lease agreement, and the landlord can evict you and put the property up for sale to make a profit at any time. Biggest con? You're not building equity, you're just paying off someone else's mortgage. What about the rent? How much is the monthly payment? The average cost for a one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment in downtown Ottawa will set you back about $2,100 plus some kind of utilities. Parking could also be separate. The average rent for a townhouse in Orleans, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, about $23.50 a month plus utilities. And a single detached home in Canada, that's a whopping $2,800 a month. Not cheap, is it? So where are these prices coming from? The rental market is in the same situation as the resale market, and that is a shortage of supply. Simply not enough homes for rent to satisfy all that demand. And now we have a new category of renters, and those are the ones that aren't ready to get into the market of buying a home yet. They're convinced that they need more time to study the market or wait for prices to drop, or maybe their new build project is 2 years away from taking possession. This adds even more demand to the already current renters in the market. And pricing? Well, if someone buys an income property for the purpose of renting it out and they pay top dollars in today's market, what do you think they're going to list their price for? Just to give you an idea of what kind of rental numbers or how much actual available rental properties we have in the market today, we actually do a weekly report every Monday morning to compare how much new active residential, condominium, and rental properties came onto the market and how many were sold or rented from the previous week. The reason we do it weekly is because it gives us a more accurate understanding and any fluctuations that might have happened instead of a monthly combination. We deal with rentals here at the Medow Group, so we have a good understanding of what's happening in the market and the types of requirements the landlords are looking for and what kind of candidate you need to be. And yes, landlords can be super picky. So to give you an example, for the week of April 25th to May 1st, there were 889 new total active listings. So residential, condominium, and rentals. And out of those, 140 were rentals. That's 19% of all new listings. And the week before that, there was 911 total new listings, and 123 of those, or 16%, were rentals. So as we monitor a week-by-week analysis, we can tell you exactly how many new rental properties came out. Now, 19% or 16% of total listings are rentals. That's not a lot to choose from, is it? Important factors that you should consider in making this important decision of renting or buying is the estimated rent for both short-term and long-term. The purchase price and types of properties and what they'll give you, the down payment, which is a big one, the mortgage rate, and the amortization period or total length of time it will take you to pay off the mortgage. The most important factor that you should consider when choosing to rent or buy is how long you will be staying in a certain place. On balance, the longer you plan to stay, the more cost efficient it will be to buy a house because of the home value generally appreciates over time. So lots to consider that can affect your decision. It comes down to savings, down payment, and how often you plan on moving it, and how much are you willing to pay for the maintenance and upkeep of the property. I'm curious to know what you think. With everything that's happening in the market so far in 2022, are you on the fence about renting or buying? Will rent prices increase this year because of demand and low supply? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in, and catch you in the next one.